You know what's strange? When you stop reaching out and they stop reaching out, it feels like nothing is happening. Like silence means it's over. But here's the truth. The dynamic doesn't end when communication stops. It transforms. Because silence isn't the absence of emotion. It's the stage where emotion finally reveals itself. When two people go quiet, one starts to reflect, the other starts to question. And the one who stays centered in that quiet, that's the one who holds their power. Stay with this. By the end, you'll understand why silence speaks louder than any message you could ever send. You see, modern connections are built on noise, constant pings, stories, updates, validation loops. We're all conditioned to being seen. But silence disrupts that pattern. It creates a void where attention once lived. And that void forces truth to surface. When you both stop contacting each other, that silence becomes a mirror. And what's reflected in that mirror isn't about them. It's about you. This is where a philosophy of inner strength enters. The ancient practice of emotional control, clarity, and perspective. A thinker once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Silence in its purest form is both right and true because it's the absence of manipulation. The refusal to negotiate your worth. It's raw honesty without words. But here's what most people never realize. The moment communication stops, internal dynamics take over. Let's break it down. When you stop initiating contact, two forces begin to battle silently. Your ego versus your peace. Your ego says, reach out just one more time. Your peace whispers, wait, observe. Let the space be felt. Many lose right there, in that psychological tug-of-war, because silence exposes your attachment. You start overthinking, did I do something wrong? Are they moving on? Maybe this is a test. But here's the honest perspective. They are not testing you. The situation is. They are in their own silence, too. And inside their mind, another process begins. The cycle of absence. At first, they may feel relief. No pressure, no expectations. Then as days pass, that relief can turn into curiosity, then into doubt, and eventually into a sense of loss. Because what once felt like freedom starts to feel like an absence. A mind accustomed to attention only understands value in its absence. When you stop pursuing, you stop feeding a dynamic, and suddenly they are forced to confront the space that your presence used to fill. Here's what most people miss. Silence is not passive. It's active energy. It's the moment when emotional balance resets. When all the chasing, all the effort, all the need for control starts to flip. You see, attraction and personal power are never static. They shift depending on who breaks the silence first. The one who maintains their silence longer isn't indifferent. They're centered. They've stopped negotiating their worth in someone else's mind. They've stopped chasing the illusion of external validation and started cultivating presence within themselves. When you stop reaching out, something profound happens. Your silence turns into a mirror that magnifies the other person's true stance. If the connection were genuine, they would start to notice your absence and reach out. If it were based on something else, they would seek validation elsewhere. Either way, silence exposes truth faster than words ever could. And that's the advantage of inner strength. The ability to stand still while the world spins. It's been said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your silence is your reaction. It's not a weakness. It's emotional discipline, a form of strength. Let me speak directly to you right now, because this part is the test that defines real strength. When you both stop contacting each other, your mind will crave closure. You want to explain, fix, or prove something. That's natural, the human side. But a person of understanding knows that closure doesn't always come from conversation. It comes from acceptance. Understand this. If someone truly values you, your absence will speak for you. You don't need to remind them of your worth. They'll feel it in your silence. This is the beauty of emotional control. You stop trying to win people back and start winning yourself back. The lesson is simple. Silence is not punishment. It's preservation. You're not ignoring them to manipulate. You're respecting yourself enough to stop explaining your value to someone who already knows it but chooses to forget. And that's where your power returns. Because when you stop reaching out, you're not losing them. You're reclaiming yourself. So, what does this look like in real life? Let's make this practical. When you both stop talking, don't fill that silence with anxiety. Fill it with purpose. Get busy, not as a performance, but as evolution. Move your body, read, build your skills, sharpen your mind, master your craft. Not to get their attention, but to remind yourself of who you are without them. Every time you stop yourself from reaching out, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it that peace feels better than chasing. And here's the shift. That change in energy doesn't go unnoticed. People sense when your focus returns to you. Your silence becomes grounded because it's no longer desperate. It's composed. They might start to wonder, why isn't there any outreach? Have they moved on? Was the stability coming from them all along? That's when the dynamic transforms, because silence creates space, and space allows for clarity. But here's the important distinction. You don't use silence to get someone back. You use it to get yourself back. When you start building yourself from within, you realize they were never the source of your validation, only a reflection of what you projected. As your energy stabilizes, you stop chasing outcomes and begin to embody peace. And often, that's when your own world, and sometimes even others, start to align with your calm. So, let me ask you this. If you both stopped contacting each other right now, would your silence bring you peace or would it expose your dependence? Because that's your truth. Most people struggle to handle silence because it forces them to confront themselves. But a person of strength, they welcome it. A thinker once wrote, "Nowhere can a person find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in their own soul." That's where you must live. In that inner space where no message, no delay, no external event can shake your foundation. So the next time the contact stops, don't panic. Don't chase. Let silence speak because silence doesn't end stories. It reveals them. And in that stillness, remember you're not losing control. You're mastering it. If this message resonated with you, take a breath and remember, silence isn't the end. It's the beginning of understanding.